It's the Wayne Bradley Show. Conservative political radio. Giving you what you need to know. Listen up. It's the Wayne Bradley Show. It's the Wayne Bradley Show. Conservative political radio. Giving you what you need to know. Listen up. It's the Wayne Bradley Show. That's what it is. It's the Wayne Bradley Show. That's what it is. Listen up. It's the Wayne Bradley Show.
Yeah. Welcome to the Wayne Bradley Show, 9-10 a.m., your superstation. You know, I was on for the last hour for the Rochelle Riley Show, me and Spudd, and we're having such a good conversation that we could not let that finish that way.
I know my wife is gonna kill me. I'm supposed to make
sorry. We're gonna
get
get this in. We got some callers here, and we want to address the issues we were talking about here. And so, Spudd, as I was saying, we'll go through these callers here, but I just wanted to say that, again, I think that the bigger difference between when the movement began 20, 30, however long years ago to now is that if you don't even agree with things, you're criticized in a way and you're called, a homophobe or whatever. And I just think that at this point, I think that, they're in good shape. They're in pretty good shape out here. And I think that moving forward,
sounds like something that Walter would say. Oh yeah, black folks are, and good. They've made so many strides, like that's okay. No, it's not okay.
I hate that we have to compare black folks. And there's something that's not an ethnicity. This is a lifestyle choice. I can't.
Can you get married across the country now if you're gay or lesbian? There's still some states that are,
No, you will be recognized. It's Supreme Court justice decision has been made on that.
Okay, good.
So yeah, we're all money on that. Now that's why it wasn't an issue in the presidential election. Again, these are one of the issues that I'm glad is off the table. That Republicans now don't have to sit there and try to beat their chest that they're the most conservative person over. I think that. If you keep government out of the way, government should not be able to decide who marries who, whose bedroom you're in, any of that. So I'm for limited government all the way around. So while I might not agree with all that, I don't think that the government should be getting involved in that. And I don't think you should be able to pull the government to get involved if a church. Again, it needs to be recognition on both sides that everyone's entitled to their beliefs and their values.
Okay.
All right. So
I'll give you that.
I'm cool with that. I mean, like I said, no big deal here. Let's go to, I can't see from over here, man.
I think we got to go to La Shawanda.
Let's go to La Shawanda.
Line 5. LaShonda. We're gonna get my man Jawan some typing.
Yeah, he'll do that to you sometime.
LaShonda, I'm sorry, not La Shawanda.
Or hang up on him.
Maybe I should have said Bartell, but that would have come off a little clearer. Listen, Wayne, I wanted to take an issue with you. I heard you say something, correct me if I'm wrong. You have been at your location for 4 years, long before Cuzzo's.
No, I mean right around the same time, literally. We came in December of 2013.
And you know how long Simply Casual has been around.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Yes, indeed. I come down there. Since Renzi was working there.
Oh, wow.
There you go.
I'm just saying, in the spirit of pre-Kwanzaa, it's just, businesses sticking together. It just kind of stood out to me that there was some type of, Cuzzo's and you, who's there first and whatnot.
Oh, no, I wasn't. I'm not part of that. I wasn't part of that at all.
Yeah, okay, cool. Listen, and as far as the election yesterday, I wanted to mention Bannon and your feelings as far as him being a strategic thinking person. Mm-hmm. Do you think that if it were not for the allegations, that were made, that the guy would have made it?
He's a child molester, Roy Moore.
Yeah, just based on the way that Bannon does his strategic way of campaigning, do you think that he would have stood a chance? And I enjoy your show. I'll listen to you off there. Thank you, Spudd.
Thank you.
Thank you.
She was talking about me. She enjoys my show.
I'm just joking. I'm just kidding. I just shut down at the end of the night, man. You're the man. You're the man.
I'm just kidding.
To answer the part about Bannon, you're not going to get too many good things from me saying about Steve Bannon. He's not a Republican. He is the editor of Breitbart. He picks losers. Mm-hmm. The only thing Steve Bannon has done is deliver the Democrats to the Alabama Senate seat. So you'll get no love on Steve Bannon around these parts. He's also the guy that's giving Donald Trump bad advice. Those are nice people down in Charlottesville. So, no, I'm not a big fan of Steve Bannon. I think that while his brand is a niche and clearly a market for his kind of radicalism, it belongs at Breitbart and not at the Republican Party.
Okay, I would echo that.
So that's where I stand on Steve Bannon. I hope that this
But
loss,
I also think that, you know.
But if he hadn't had those allegations, now if he would not have had the allegations of child molestation, I think he would have won that seat handily.
I slightly disagree with that. I think that if he would have had the allegations, I think he still would have won. I think that the extension of his past came back to haunt him in regards to the slavery comment, regards to the Jewish comment.
That too.
You know, I think that
he was
that's
a terrible
where,
candidate.
I don't want to say he was a terrible candidate. In my opinion, I think that if you look at it from an Alabama perspective, the numbers and the history say Roy Moore should be the Senate.
You can get a conservative, principled Republican without having to go to the death of Roy Moore. You already had Luther Strange in there. Luther Strange was the guy that Trump actually endorsed in the first place. And I said on the radio last night, Alabamans picked a fine time to not listen to Donald Trump. He's told them to do everything else, and they do it. But he endorsed Luther Strange. They chose Roy Moore. Everyone knew about other things that Roy Moore had said before. So these were, again, the allegations of child molestation. He was up in the polls a month ago. It wasn't until the allegations of child molestation that even some Republicans were like, okay, you know what? I really wasn't supporting him in to begin with. But now that he is these kind of allegations, and you're right, we can't disprove them. I don't want to be anything involved.
Yeah, I think that, you know, what was amazing to me was to see him drop drastically in a poll. And then when Trump decided to endorse him, he exploded.
He surged
He
back.
surged in the polls.
But it was always this discrepancy in the polls on because he only ended up winning by 2 points.
Right. But I think that because if you look at the, you know, white female vote, I don't think that the sexual allegations mattered. I think that, you know, white women, white men, which is dominant in, you know, Alabama, I think they still were going to go out and vote for Roy Moore. I think that the black vote actually came and said, no, we cannot have this happen because of this is the, you know, the type of person you talk about. Jeff Sessions, who was allegedly, you know, a racist. Wallace, you know, who, you know, clearly,
Democrat,
you know, I mean, so yeah and no.
I think that you know, the tactics used by the local chapters of the Alabama NAACP and working with the clergy was obviously effective because they actually the participation, the number of voters was actually higher for a special election in 2017 than it was for Obama in Alabama in 2008. So people were definitely scared. I mean, any candidate that says that you need to get rid of every amendment after the 10th is going to scare black folks into voting. I don't, you know, when I heard that, I'm like, well, you know, that's up to like I said before, it's going to be up to the people of Alabama.
Yeah.
And so
I'm sorry, you going back to the phone?
Yeah, we want to go back. Let's go back.
Line 1, Leon, Grosse Point. I'm only calling him out because Wayne can't see that far.
Yeah,
how y'all doing?
What's up, Leon?
How you doing?
All is well. Look, this is my first time calling. I have been anticipating of listening, but I was listening to you guys' conversation. A couple things. This piece about the gay community, I think the African American community, in my humble opinion, should take a page from the gay community in terms of what I mean by that is they wanted their bills passed, so they wanted their rights.
And they worked on both sides of the aisle to get it done.
With resilience.
That's my point.
Yeah, they worked on both sides of the aisle to get that done.
And they unified and got it done. And I called. I was listening to Bankole earlier, and I was saying we hate one another if we play both sides. You know?
Right.
But
exactly.
You have to play both sides to get something done because little do we know our vote is the swing vote.
Right.
no matter what. And so we need to learn how to get something for our vote as opposed to a piece of chicken and a biscuit.
I totally agree.
Have to learn that we're just happy to be at the meeting. Don't know why we at the meeting. Just photo opping, and we come away empty-handed. And then we blame the other persuasion. No, the other persuasion is only going on what a few of the gatekeepers tell them.
Right.
Instead of us saying, look, if you're going to be a gatekeeper, this is what we want. Else you're not going to be in that position next year. And so until we learn that, and I heard that I was happened to be listening to some old speeches of Malcolm X. And he said that back in 1964, we're the swing vote, no matter what, but we let people abuse our vote and our power.
Yeah, I played that Malcolm X clip last night that Malcolm X talked about that, how and black folks, we can't be political chumps. We can't allow ourselves to be put in one basket. And that's really all my job is about. It's not about criticizing Democrats and criticizing folks that vote them. It's about saying, look, man, we have options, and we should. Look, Jewish people, Asian people, you don't walk into a room full of white people and say, you know, this is a room of Democrats or this is a room of Republicans, because you don't know. They play both sides of the field. And when people walk into a room full of black people, and based on the numbers alone, 90 to 95% of us are voting with one party, and we're getting nothing out of the deal. If there was something we could clearly point to and say, these are the wins for black people, this is why we are siding with the Democrat Party, then I wouldn't probably argue as much. But the idea is that a lot of times they come to us at election season, and then that's it. And they don't come back again to the next election season. And then in between, they offer excuses. The white man is doing this. Oh, the Republicans in Lansing won't let us do this. Oh, the Republicans in D.C. won't let us do this. But what are you guys doing? You know, I could point to our local officials that are in D.C. that protest instead of actually legislating. You know, Brenda Lawrence, she's done it, and she's a great person, great lady. But she rather put on the white dress and walk out of the meetings with Trump and say they won't meet with him. That doesn't help the 14th district.
No, it's not.
Doesn't help us one bit.
And what's sad is, my last point, what's sad is we'll get mad at someone like Dan Gilbert when he put up the good and kind of down. And we standing around, locking arms like we feel over something. No. I mean, do something. We talk about we have political clout. Use it in the right way for the hands of the people.
Right.
And we're still dealing with issues from the 60s. And I'm like, yeah.
Well, and if you look at all these other groups and ethnicities, they don't sit around and protest for things that they believe that they deserve and they want to earn. I've never seen.
Wait. Like what? Like name who?
When was the last time you saw the Asian Pacificers out there with picket signs demanding they want equal justice?
Do you not Do you not think that we deserve equal justice?
No, I'm not saying that. But the point is they move in strategic ways besides protest.
What strategic ways?
After you protest, there's nothing wrong with protesting. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. But this thing called the follow up is you got to do more than just the protest. That's the easy part. The easy part is telling everybody to join together and complain about an issue that we all can agree on. All right, so after that, what do you do next? Are you following up the state reps, Republican or Democrat, that can help push the agenda? A lot of times there's no follow-up. I mean, that's why we're still protesting over the same thing that we was protesting about 50 years ago. We should be protesting now. Instead of protesting about civil rights and cops beating us up, which are issues, we should be protesting at the banks about community development funds flowing our way. We should be complaining about access to the Small Business Association. If we started doing that as opposed to protesting basic civil rights, we would probably get further. And then you can't expect them to ever look at you as your equal when you're asking for something that's God-given in the first place.
Do you think that realistically, regardless of whatever it is that we are protesting against, that we're going to be able to move the needle forward? I don't think that anyone is going to actually take the black vote seriously or the black community seriously until there is leverage, right? The sad part about it is that
requires us to vote too.
True, but for generations there is no leverage in the situation.
That's because we have no leverage because we give all our leverage to one party. How can we threaten the Democrats with anything if we say, well, only thing we can threaten Democrats with, we just don't show up to vote.
But
That's it.
but is the solution for us to go independent or to join the Republican Party? Because it doesn't seem like we're welcome there.
No, that's not true. That's not true at all. At the very least, there should be enough of us that say, you know what, I still want to remain politically active, but I want to turn my leverage into making both parties work for our advantage. That's the way everyone else does it. Jewish folks, that's the way they do it. Most Jewish people are Democrats, right? But there's that 30 to 35%, which some of them might be the wealthiest or whatever. The point being is they split their interests. So whoever's in charge, their interests are at the table. That's the way bankers do it. That's the way insurance companies do it. And black people are the only people that don't do it. The Hispanics, for example, the Republican Party has an outreach program for the Hispanic population. It's 5-7 times as large as the black one because you know why? Hispanics have not decided on one political party. They said, hey, we like Republicans on Catholic issues and building jobs, but we don't like them on health care and immigration. So you know what? We're going to push both parties. Now you see how Republicans are negotiating back and forth on immigration. Same way with the gay marriage issue. Now you have Republicans in New York. The Republicans controlled the state house in New York. They passed gay marriage there. Now it was because one guy whose son was gay, and he wanted him to have his marriage in New York as opposed to going to Massachusetts. But the point being is that people align. Your issue should not only end up with one party. See, even the unions have made this mistake of just saying, hey, the only party.
But this is what you're saying, though. You're saying that your issue should not line up with the Democratic Party.
I'm saying
because your issues clearly line up only with the Republican Party.
That's not true. I can look at some of the concerns of social programs that Democrats push, but it's the way they do it and the lack of effectiveness. How we said before, it shouldn't.
Oh, I'm sorry. We got to go back to the phone.
Okay, it shouldn't be a lifestyle decision. Yeah, we got a whole bunch of folks here, man. We're gonna bring Steve. Steve, man, I'm sorry. We're going to have to do a Hannity and Combs.
Oh, yeah, line two.
Line two. Steve, welcome to the show out of Northwest Detroit.
Gentlemen, how are you?
All right, how you doing?
All right. Well, first of all, the enemy is the government. It's not the Republicans solely. It's not the Democrats solely. It's the fact that the people are being squashed with severe austerity.
Mm-hmm.
And the simple definition of austerity is balancing the mistakes of the rich on the backs of the poor. That's what this tax cut bill is going to do. Trickle down has never worked. It's been fuzzy math all along, ever since Perot pointed it out. The bottom line is, Wayne, what I have a problem with you is that, and I know you're getting paid by the RNC, and I don't have a problem with that. You make your money however you make your money.
Mm-hmm.
But if I was to drop you in Africa, you would pass out and die. And if I were to put you in the Caucasus Mountains, you would freeze and die. You are a beast with no nation, and you don't understand it. The bottom line is, when it comes to a point, America doesn't recognize us civilly, therefore they ain't going to recognize us economically. So it's not about fighting. We're fighting for civil rights when we should be fighting for more bank access. They don't recognize us civilly.
But they do recognize our contributions economically in this country. The black dollar spends.
Well,
no, they don't. No, they do not recognize us.
We are the biggest consumer.
They recognize us from a dispendable, income
We're
perspective.
the biggest consumer. We're the biggest consumer.
Yeah, so they don't recognize that. They don't care nothing about that.
Wait a minute. There is no power in consumerism.
So again, that's why we should be. If we were going to complain about something.
So consumption has a stale date.
Mm-hmm.
But producers and ownership does not have a stale date. It's limitless.
So that is why we should be at the SBA complaining about having more access to funds. I agree with you.
But
they're not going to give us no access to funds.
That's something to protest about then. That's something to protest about.
Real quick, Steve, because we got 15 people to get to. Sorry. Republicans,
the Republicans they don't like gay and lesbians, the LGBT, whatever you want to call it.
I didn't say that.
But they support pedophilia. So the thing of it is, I say this to you, Wayne, and people who think like you, Walter and the Temptations. I saw Omarosa get thrown out of the White House. I saw Omarosa get thrown out of the White House, and she had on some blue jeans.
Mm-hmm.
She happened to have faded areas around the knees. And you guys wear the same type of jeans.
That's very disrespectful.
Thank you, Steve.
That's very disrespectful to that black
Andre,
woman.
I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. You got the thing now.
You know, it's because of that kind of language this whole Me Too movement has kicked off. Way to go, Steve. That was real classy there, buddy. All right, let's go to Andre. Let's go to Andre next. Andre, thank you. Thank you for calling in to the Wayne Bradley Show. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing well. You guys are all over the place, and you have a lot of great topics. I'm a transplant from the East Coast. I've been here about 3 years, and I'm in Monroe, Michigan. I'm a minister down here.
All right.
I was a registered Republican for a few years during the Bush administration, but then I decided to become an independent because the Republicans are not they're not behind black people. Also, you guys are familiar with a book called Black and White in America by David Barton?
I have not, but I'll write it down and read it.
I'm familiar with David Barton, that's for sure.
Now, David Barton has written some sketchy stuff, but this particular book goes to the history of black and white relations in America, and it also talks about the Democratic and Republican parties before and after the Civil War. Of course, we know, and people have forgotten, that Democrats were pro-slavery and Republicans were for abolition. Now, after the Civil War, okay, when things changed, there have been a lot of changes in this country where people swapped the narrative. During the time when Woodrow Wilson was president, he was a Democrat. He quit having black people in the White House. But Theodore Roosevelt had, I believe, Booker T. Washington, George Washington Carver, several people. So Republicans were friendly up until FDR and the New Deal. Then they switched the narrative again. And then the Democrats became friends of black people. They switched the narrative again. Have you heard what they say that LBJ said after he signed the Civil Rights Act?
I know he said.
N-word eating out of okay? So, brother, to be a Republican now, I was a Republican. I was a Mario Cuomo Democrat liberal in New York City. Now I vote independent. I thought voting independently I could sleep better at night, but I can't because of Donald Trump. Okay, but here's what I pray for. I pray for the death of the Republican Party. Simply because they've lost their value. They've lost their value.
Well, and Pastor, you know, I don't want
that. Thank you so very much, Andre. I appreciate you.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Pastor. Keep us in your prayers, and maybe if someone like yourself comes back to the party and brings that voice, it strengthens the party. And that's my point. It's like I can take the criticism, but I think just like anything else.
Listen, the Democratic Party has a bunch of issues, but I agree with what Andre was saying, Pastor. Listen. You guys have some issues as well.
No question about it.
All right,
listen, if they didn't have any problems, they would have never hired me in the first place, right? We have.
Clearly, the first problem is racism.
Not racism.
Oh, my God,
come
on.
More inclusion.
Okay, I'll give you that.
Bring more inclusion. All right, so line 4, we're going to go to Martin because Martin's been waiting. Martin, welcome to the show.
I'm sorry, welcome. We just totally forgot about Martin. I'm sorry.
Martin.
No, it's okay. I hope you guys do this stuff together more often. But, so, seriously, man, but did that guy just say that Republicans endorse pedophiles and don't? I mean, what is wrong with you?
Is that not true?
That's the whole problem. Like
that is true.
And see, this is why I'm glad. To be honest, this is the byproduct of Roy Moore. That's the only reason they can say that. And Roy Moore didn't win. And even though Roy Moore had no proof was made, and this is why. This whole Me Too thing and these people just coming out with no proof.
He's going through this ordeal now, isn't he?
Yep. People can just throw anything out there.
Catastrophe.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what Roy Moore could do to clear his name or and this is why I say anybody, if they make these kind of accusations and there's no proof and you just have to live with a bad reputation.
Look, it doesn't matter who you are in this country. I have a tendency to believe what Roy Moore said. They were going to go through an ethics investigation, and his own Republican Party was going to come down on him, and he still held his ground. So I have a tendency to believe him. If you step down, then I'm going to wonder.
Yeah, but the problem, Martin, is this. If the problem is this, right? And I blame this on the Democratic Party, right? We got duped in this situation. However, if there are allegations against you, and you're not out there day by day fighting those allegations, defending your name, that's a problem. If you have everybody else and then in the last week you actually go into hiding, now you got your wife actually out there talking, that's a problem. There should be some respect in the situation. Now, it's subjective of whatever happens, right?
The thing that just scares me about the Roy Moore situation, and I'll just be quite honest, is that this stuff happened, the allegations were from 40 years ago.
What does that mean?
So again, what if they're told? Let's just say these were politically motivated hits. This man has no way to clear his name. Let's see if we hear anything else about these accusations over the next month or two. Now that he hasn't won the election.
No one. Look at. Let me. I know you guys got callers, so let's knock this down and get back to the gay issue. I've been listening to the station all day and try in total glee. The Democrats are that they won Alabama. Are you kidding me? We had a candidate that was being blasted
for being a pedophile.
Even Mitch McConnell didn't help the issue, and they won by 1.4%. So, unfortunately, I'll let you Democrats know in 2020.
That's a temporary seat. Yeah, that's a temporary.
Now, wait a minute. Over 20,000 people voted as a write-in. That's not going to happen in 2020.
Nick Saban got 19,000 votes.
Listen, I understand, but I'm going to take the Bakari Sellers route, and I'm going to say, give my man Doug Jones his props.
They want to hold on for 2 years.
Listen, give me my 2 years. We made history on Tuesday, and I appreciate it. Regardless if you guys had a flawed candidate or not.
He's like an interim coach.
I'm not worried about 2020 right now. Right now, I'm worried about Doug Jones getting in. Listen,
you know what Alabama just scored?
What's that?
Abortion on demand.
Yep.
That's what they just scored. A guy who supports.
What's wrong with that?
At 20 weeks.
What's wrong with that?
Yeah,
at 20 weeks, I don't appreciate it.
He supports late term abortions. He's talking about almost a baby that could be delivered.
But I do believe that a woman has a right to choose, and I don't know about the 20-week part. I don't know how I feel about that. Martin, thank you so very much, man. I appreciate you.
That's killing a baby.
Oh, I don't know where you were gonna go. I got 3 minutes.
All right, we got 3 minutes here. Let's go. You know what? Let's go to Dr. Mack. You ought to enjoy this. Dr. Mack loves
Dr. Mack.
Dr. Mack loves schooling me.
I love
Dr. Mack. Welcome to the show.
Well, I mean, it's unfortunate you put me on with 3 minutes, okay? So
no, Wayne doesn't have 3 minutes. I only got 3 minutes. I got to go home. I promised my wife I was making rum balls tonight, so I got to go home.
Now,
Christmas cookies to make, baby.
Okay, now, in terms of Wayne Bradley talking about black people are the only ones who are caught up in protests, do you know the Hispanic Americans that were protesting when they're trying to eliminate DACA? Do you realize the people that protest in terms of the Tea Party protests, hanging President Obama in effigy? So this nonsense.
Are you comparing Tea Party protests to the civil rights movement? Come on, son. Come on, Dr. Mack.
You see.
Are you comparing that?
He doesn't. Wayne's problem is he doesn't know what to put in his mouth first, okay? His foot or
Pause.
that he's eating after Roy Jones.
Pause.
In terms of that, of course that's a protest. Of course it's a protest, all right? And so when you have Republicans, all right, that say we're going to rush through this tax bill, we don't want to wait for the duly elected senator.
I'm going to give you 25 minutes to read it.
We've been waiting. We've been putting that
it.
bill together for the last year and a half.
Yeah,
we don't have to wait for Doug Jones. I agree. Why wait for him?
Okay, well, tell me this. Tell me this then. So Mitch McConnell shouldn't have insisted that we wait for the new president before voting on Garrett Marlin for the.
I agree. He should have got a straight up or straight down vote, but we still would have voted it down, so it wouldn't have mattered. That was political.
You realize how scurrilous the Republicans were with that, don't you, Wayne?
I didn't agree with that, but again, listen. We would still would have voted it down. Listen, Dr. Mack, you're avoiding the bigger issue here. Even if we would allow the vote, we would have voted them down.
The Republicans are wrong. See,
I don't have a problem admitting Republicans are wrong. It seems to me that you only think liberalism is the only way to go. You can out-talk. You're a professor, so you can talk just as much as I can. I get it.
Is to just try to keep talking. He can't.
You're the one doing that. I'm listening to you. I'm giving you an opportunity. I'm trying to follow you.
So Mitch McConnell was wrong for holding up the vote on Garrett Marlin, correct?
Yes. He still would have got it voted down. It still would have got voted down, though.
Wayne,
we have a majority in the Senate.
Point two. Wayne. Point two. You already answered that question. He was wrong. You ask, how come black people don't gravitate towards the Republican Party? I'll give you 15 of them if we have time. Now, in terms of the statement about Omarosa, how disrespectful that was to what that caller said,
yes.
You referred to the black people in the 13th Congressional District as Negroes with ego.
Is that not true? 10 candidates that want to run Negroes with egos. Maybe I need to play that. I need to play that part again. You want to hear that, Dr. Mack? We'll play Negroes with egos.
What's wrong with Negroes? What are you talking about? You saying that
they were fighting over? They were all going to fight over a seat and leave Daisy Kinesic with that seat.
Oh, I see that. I gotta go.
See, yeah.
We gotta go to a break.
That was about to happen.
All right, Wayne. Thank you so very much for letting me stay. I appreciate
it. My pleasure.
And have a great night,
the legend.
All right.
We'll be back on the break, Dr. Mack.
Can health insurance be more human, more compassionate? Can it be healthier? It's up to us to show our corner of the world how. And it starts with putting people first, a task we take deeply to heart. That's why we don't see our members as numbers. They're our friends and neighbors. At Priority Health, we have 996,000 reasons to offer Michigan the best health insurance possible. And we care about every single one. Priority Health, a healthier approach to healthcare. Can health insurance be more human, more compassionate? Can it be healthier? It's up to us to show our corner of the world how. And it starts with putting people first, a task we take deeply to heart. That's why we don't see our members as numbers. They're our friends and neighbors. At Priority Health, we have 996,000 reasons to offer Michigan the best health insurance possible. And we care about every single one. Priority Health, a healthier approach to healthcare.
910 AM Superstation is the voice of the people. Don't believe me? Just listen.
I love 910 AM. I listen all day long. So many articulate and thoughtful, diverse voices and wonderful stories.
I always head to the 910 AM website for the latest in entertainment news, community events, and more.
So when you think of 910 AM Superstation, we want you to tune in, call in, and don't forget to find us on social media. 910 AM Superstation is in a league of its own. We are the only talk radio station in the Metro Detroit area sensitive to the African American community.
Make sure you join us on what station?
910 AM the Superstation.
910 AM.
910 AM. On 910 AM Superstation.
910 AM Superstation, Metro Detroit's only African American based talk radio station. 910 AM Superstation is the voice of the people. Don't believe me? Just listen.
I absolutely love this radio station. This station gets me through the work week.
And we don't just show love to the callers. We see the comments and the posts too.
I'm always on the go, so being able to watch all my favorite hosts on 910 AM mobile app is amazing.
So when you think of 910 AM Superstation, we want you to tune in, call in, and don't forget to find us on social media. 910 AM Superstation, the leader in opinions.
So do you think that you have to target a city, depress the people, make the city blighted?
I think that's just hate.
Really?
I do. I think there's a level of hate in Michigan for Detroit and for Detroiters and for African Americans, and particularly in the areas that just touch Detroit. I mean, look at those flower pots in Grosse Pointe. There's lots of nice, I'm not going to say that there's not lots of nice Grosse Pointers, but really the flower pots to put up like a border between near where I live and Grosse Pointe, that is an expression of hatred.
But you know what? I think that we're at a point now where people don't fear. I think people just want it to get better. But even a lot of the people who are living in these areas, they think that the ends does justify the means. So yeah, it might not be fair that the lady next door may be forced out of her home, but if she can't afford to pay the property taxes, then maybe she needs to go. That's what a lot of people think.
910 AM Superstation. We are the future of radio. If the conversation is hot and the lines are jammed, give us a try at 313-778-7600 or 313-778-7601. That's 313-778-7600 or 313-778-7601.
910 Superstation is off the chisane.
910 AM Superstation is the voice of Detroit, and we want to hear what you have to say by any means necessary. 910 AM Superstation, the leader in facts.
Same time, you have an administration saying, or you have the media in general, other than you, saying that, Detroit's on a great comeback. Detroit is on a partial comeback, but there's a large segment of the population that's been left behind that this city has been and continue to be built on. And, as long as you're leaving people behind, like in the military, they say you shouldn't leave nobody behind. But we have been left behind. We have been forgotten, pushed over, kicked, and robbed. And we're being robbed every month. It's not over. The bankruptcy isn't over. It's still every day to us.
Voices.
But then you got the Democrats, they're stepping in the way. Donna Brazile comes out and says Hillary took over the part that didn't give the money she had. She ran her operation in the DNC. So is the Democrats going to ever get it together?
910 AM Superstation. We are the future of radio. 910 AM Superstation, the leader in opinions.
So do you think that you have to target a city, depress the people, make the city blighted?
I think that's just hate.
Really?
I do. I think there's a level of hate in Michigan for Detroit and for Detroiters and for African Americans, and particularly in the areas that just touch Detroit. I mean, look at those flower pots in Grosse Pointe. There's lots of nice, I'm not going to say that there's not lots of nice Grosse Pointers, but really the flower pots to put up like a border between near where I live and Grosse Pointe, that is an expression of hatred.
But you know what? I think that we're at a point now where people don't care. I think people just want it to get better. But even a lot of the people who are living in these areas, they think that the ends does justify the means. So yeah, it might not be fair that the lady next door may be forced out of her home, but if she can't afford to pay the property taxes, then maybe she needs to go. That's what a lot of people think.
910 AM Superstation. We are the future of radio.
Another one of them flip mode joints. Bust around, y'all. Word mother, y'all. Check it out, y'all. Just swing to the left, swing to the right. Make it feel good, make it feel alright. One time, feel good, yeah, y'all. Bust around in the place, y'all. Nigga, you feel real good, y'all. Flip Moses squad in the place, y'all. Buck wild for all of my people who don't care. Floss like a bunch of young black millionaires. Making you run, me and my done stacking my ones. Floss a little, invest up in the mutual fund. Blowing the horn, a sense of every day I was born. Never dream I see a nigga landscaping my lawn. Dangerous, my nickel should be accurate. Have to get the flow be so immaculate. Hey yo, watching my dough, sipping my mo. Sipping it slow, them pretty women saying hello. Anyway, go ahead and display your olive oil. Little honey dip whipping a little cabriolet. I don't mean to hold you up, but I got something to say. Swear to only give you hot shit every day. Afraid of us, you know this ain't a game to us. You strange to us, that's when we getting dangerous. Come on.
Welcome back to the Wayne Bradley Show, live on 910 AM Superstation. Been having a great spirited debate with my friend Spudd. Thank you, Spudd, for coming on the show today. His show is every day, 5 to 7 p.m. No, is it 4 to 6 p.m.? 4 to 6 p.m. every day. Thanks again, Spudd, for joining me for a half hour. He had to get home. He's got a lovely wife at home. Got to bake those cookies. All right, so listen, man, we've been having a spirited debate. I got a ton of calls to go through here. I'm gonna bring back Dr. Mack because I know he wasn't done with me, so I'm gonna let. And this is the kind of person I am. I like Dr. Mack, regardless of how bad he talks about me. I know that he means well and he wants to educate a young black man. So I'm welcoming him back to the show. Dr. Mack, you're back.
Okay, Wayne. You got potential, Wayne. You're misguided, drinking the wrong Kool-Aid, but I've not given up on you, Wayne. Basically, you seem like a nice young man. Basically,
I can hear it. I can hear in the way you school me. I can feel it that you're not. It's not in a malice way. He just wants to help a young man out.
Wayne,
I appreciate that.
Wayne. So the importance of the Alabama situation is, I don't think it's going to be just a caretaker position. I tell you why. When you say that, what you really say is the effect of 95% of African Americans voting for this gentleman is somehow just going to be a short-term thing. I don't think so. I think that if the Republicans are smart, they will start in Alabama, start addressing some of the issues that are relevant to the black and African American community in Alabama.
I hope you're right. Listen, Dr. Mack, I hope you are 100% correct. I hope the Republicans in Alabama and across the country see the power of the black vote and how, if disregarded by either party, how it can make a difference. So, listen, at the end of the day, I'm black, and I like to see black people voting, to be quite honest. I know it can be against the Republican Party at times. But I'd like to see black people voting. And unfortunately, what we had here was a candidate that was so scary and so bad with some of the things he has said that he got black people to vote out for a special election more than they did for President Obama. So that's what I'm saying in terms of the caliber of candidate that we had here was so bad that black folks came out to vote against him more than they did to come out to support President Obama. I guess, and that's the only thing I'm saying in terms of I don't know if that's sustainable because we don't typically put out candidates that rough. I mean, he was not even the endorsed candidate originally of Donald Trump. And so I think that if it had been Luther Strange, I don't think we would have lost that race.
Well, I tend to think you're right. You know?
I mean that's what it is.
That ought to be a lesson.
I hope so. I hope so.
In terms of that whole Steve Bannon,
there you go,
that white nationalist racist.
There's no room for that in my party.
Working.
Steve Bannon needs to go back to Breitbart and focus on editing that website and doing whatever he does over there and leave political actual operations to the professionals. Let the Republican Party, let Mitch McConnell, let Paul Ryan, let Ronald McDaniel, let the folks who do this, let them handle that and let him do the articles and upset the folks. There's a niche that he has with the Bannonism, and he ought to focus that on the website, and I'm okay with that because a lot of those guys weren't, I hate to say it, I'm not going to, they weren't voting anyway. They came out to vote for Trump because Trump somehow made them feel connected. They're going to still be disappointed. I've told people this for the longest. If the only reason you voted for Donald Trump was because you thought he somehow was going to advance some white nationalist agenda, they're going to be disappointed. The closest thing that they will resemble what Trump said that he was going to do is possibly build the wall in some areas across Arizona and maybe some parts of the border in Texas. If he gets that whole wall done, then that's more than that group of folks should ever have hoped for. Because personally, I don't think the wall across the whole wall will be completed. I think that's a bit ambitious, and it's going to cost too much money. So I'm a reasonable Republican. I also think, though, we need to have an immigration process that works for the people that are here, but we don't just continue to allow illegal immigrants to flow in and flow out, commit crimes, leave.
Correct.
Correct.
Wayne, you know what? This is amazing because a lot of what you just said is absolutely right.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to give you credit for that. You need to say more of that, Wayne. You really do, man, because what's happening is when you get on the radio, when you play Sweet Home Alabama and all that, I think you really paint yourself in a bad corner that you really don't intend to do that.
Part of this, listen, I have to, listen, it's a radio show. I have to encourage people to get involved. And if sometimes that means that I have to play Sweet Home Alabama, which again, I didn't even know the guy, the name who sings the song. I don't listen at all to country music. I just know that that's the name of the song. I've heard it in movies and things like that. But again, at the end of the day, I'm a Jack Kemp Republican. I'm all good for getting rid of Steve Bannon and these guys. Those guys do not, what their message is and what they're motivating people to, they're no more valuable to the Republican Party. Because that doesn't bring value. Maybe to win one election, Donald Trump, okay. But in every state, everyone cannot be Donald Trump. Every senator cannot be as bombastic.
That's right.
They can't do that. We can't maintain that. And I don't think, like if you look in Michigan for right now is a great example. We have Justice Bob Young as a Senate candidate, and we have John James, a guy that went to military. I mean, these guys and both of them are African American. Okay, so I don't think that everywhere is going to be like Alabama, and I think that Democrats should not get too excited about that. And I don't think Republicans. I think the lesson for Republicans is that hey, we can't just throw anybody on the ballot and think that there's going to be a positive result. And that's the issue.
Wayne, what's got to happen is there's got to be another autopsy report with the Republicans, even though.
I was ready to share the one from 2013. That's why I got hired, Dr. Mack. I was brought in under the Growth and Opportunity Plan that Chairman Reince Priebus had put in place in 2013. So I know that thing back and forth. We could print the autopsy results from then have not changed in terms of why in terms of what we need to do a better job of reaching out to minorities, and that's not just black people. That's Latinos, But at the same time, Latinos.
You have got to address. Okay, Wayne, you have got to address that white racist fringe nationalist segment of your party. That is a cancer, Wayne. Michael Steele sees it. Kerry Leon Jackson sees it.
Right.
A lot of black Republicans see it.
Yeah.
That is a cancer, Wayne.
I think that, again, and the bigger issue with that is that's going to be more up to state parties. Like in Michigan, we don't have that. I would feel confident, Dr. Mack, telling you, why don't you come to one of our events? And even though you might not agree with everyone that's in the room, I think you would say, you know what? I come out this room and I met some impressive Republicans, white, black, whatever. I met some good folks. Everybody's not, in particular in these Midwest states, East Coast states, the coastal areas. The place that you're addressing, and I have no problem saying this, is a lot more of the southern states. It's not. This is a regional issue more than it is our entire party. And I think that, those states, if you don't want to be branded that way, and if you don't want people talking about everyone in your state that way, then you need to address it that way. Because in Michigan, we don't have that. We don't have those kind of problems in our Republican Party. And the people that do try to step out that way, they are taken care of.
Yeah. Well, then if that's true, Wayne, then let Bill Schuette and all the other Republicans running for office, let them take a stand and say, we renounce that racism.
Listen, Bill Schuette demanded that he drop that. Listen, Bill Schuette before the election has said that Roy Moore should have stepped down. He's on record saying that. That's all he can do though as an elected official from Michigan is say that he has no business being on the ballot in Alabama. That's Wayne, as a leader, that's what he did.
Wayne, Bannon was in Macomb County shaking hands, Wayne. Come on, man.
That's Macomb. Again, listen, Bannon is using his 15 minutes like everyone else that's worked under the Trump administration. If you get, how many times do you think he's going to be invited to be keynote speakers at the biggest Reagan dinner in the state of, in our state is Macomb County. Okay, so he's taking advantage of his time to be hot. I'm not mad at that. I didn't go that evening, and my point being is that he's trying to sell himself as a guy that's going to tear up. I thought it was ironic because it was a unity party that night when they had that dinner. Why are we inviting the guy that's promising to destroy the Republican Party? He's more in it for himself and building the image of Breitbart, if you ask me. But it's America. We have a right to do that.
I really am listening to hear black Republicans say what you just said. I'm really listening, man. It's a tough position, and this is the thing. The difference between Michael Steele and some of these other folks is that, and even me as an employee, you have to be mindful of this. He's no longer working for the party. I wish that, when they're elected, like how Colin Powell, he's a great example of a guy that now says, there was racism and all. He should have did that while he was there, but no one wants to let's just be honest, no one wants to mess up their job, the connections they have, so they have to deal with it at a snail's pace. And what I'm saying, like, from my radio station, I'm proud of what Michigan Republicans represent, but I can't change what goes on in Alabama. They have to take the initiative. They need, they had outreach coordinators and stuff down in Alabama, but they got to listen to those guys. Okay, Michigan, they listen to me when I make suggestions. I get stuff done here, so I can't speak for where I know it's not like that in other states. So, while we're here in Michigan, I would encourage a lot of folks to at least listen to what the candidates have to say and pay attention in Michigan. I can't control what goes on in Alabama. Alabama's a whole other world in Michigan, Dr. Mack. You know that, and I know that. Right. Well, like I said, I'm listening, Wayne. I'm listening, man. I heard what you said tonight. I gave you a fair shot.
And I appreciate that.
I'm listening to see if I keep on hearing that.
All right.
I'm listening to see, Wayne.
Well, I appreciate that. Like I said, some days we might disagree, but at the end of the day, we both want some of the same things. Sometimes it's like the red or the blue pill in the Matrix. We both want to get to the same place, right. Dr. Mack. So what me and you need to do, just like I tell a lot of other folks, me and you should focus on the issues that we have and agree on in common and try to work to better those as opposed to us arguing about, maybe some issue that we obviously don't agree on. We might not ever agree on that. But let's focus on what we can agree on and work towards that. If Republicans and Democrats did that in D.C., America would be a lot better off. So we got to work on that.
I tell you what. The final thing I'm going to say, if you mean that, well, then let's work on pushing Republicans in Congress, in the House of Representatives, and in the Senate to fix what they say the flaws are in the Voting Rights Act of 1965. Let's agree on that, Wayne.
That'd be something I'd be willing to look into. I'll be very honest with you. I think that if we as a group spent more time on trying to outreach to people instead of worrying about the voting laws, I think we'd be building a stronger party as well. So you won't get me to disagree with you on that one.
All right, Wayne. I'll be listening, man, and I'll be talking and calling. You can count on that, Wayne.
I know you will. Like I said, you're gonna keep me straight. I appreciate it. Thank you, Dr. Mack. All right, we're gonna go to Miss Marcia. Miss Marcia, how you doing?
Oh, just fine, dear. Yes, I want to say this. Dwight D. Eisenhower was his corporate tax rate was 90%. You know why?
Why is that?
Because high corporate tax rates create incentives for big business to spend earnings and expand. New locations, new hires, new equipment, and products, which are deducted from taxable earnings.
Okay.
Thus driving reported wealth into a lower tax bracket. Better to spend a majority of earnings on expansion than to hoard it and pay Uncle Sam 90% of it. It's not communism. It's responsible economics. Now, my father was an Eisenhower Republican.
Mm-hmm.
You need to kind of study him, and of course, he's the one that reminded us to watch the military-industrial complex also. So I really, and then it was progressive and the Me Too people who spearheaded that win in down there in Alabama.
Okay. All right. Well,
okay.
I appreciate your insight on that, Miss Marcia. I really do. I appreciate it.
Okay, dear.
Thank you so much for calling in tonight. All right. We're going to go to Abe. Abe is on the line. Hey, Brock, thanks for joining the show today. Abe, welcome to the show.
Still there? You hear me?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Bradley, it is an honor to talk to you and to get through. Your signal comes up very strong up here in Grand Blanc, Michigan.
Awesome.
I listen to you, it's wonderful, and it's like you down the street. I love it. And congratulations on that time slot.
Thank you so much.
The thing is, I wrote a few notes here so I wouldn't forget. Early on in your program, you were talking to some of the callers and your viewpoints on the vote from the black community going mostly to the Democrat Party, not as much to the Republican Party as it traditionally did. And I've been talking. I just joined the Republican Party. I was more independent, and I just joined last year. And I've been talking about a show I saw back in 1982 or 3 or 4. It was on a Sunday, and my schedule that I was young then on that day was to watch Wall Street Week with Louis Rukeyser on PBS on Sunday, Firing Line with William Buckley. He was the National Review conservative.
Right.
And then the third program in a row was Tony Brown's Journal. He was a black conservative from Detroit. And I don't know if you remember him or not. I went on YouTube, and there's some things. And the one program that stuck in my mind back then was he talked about the vote. Did it go to the Democrat Party or the Republican Party?
Right.
And he had a solution for that, and it was called the 80-20 solution. And I went on Google, and I couldn't find anything about it. And I heard you talking. I said, you know what? I'm going to call you because you're the guy, man. And I thought, I'm going to call you. And the 80-20 solution, from what I remember, this is, 30, 40 years ago, was where if the black vote tends to go from the Democrat Party to the Republican Party, and it trends towards 20%, more competition's created.
Right.
And there would be more whatever. And I can't remember the exact thing.
If Republicans were even getting 20%, if it was 80-20, you would have Republicans working hard, is all outdoors every time to get those that 20%, because that would make the difference in most elections. If Republicans got 20% of the black vote, they probably would never lose another election in this country right now. 20%.
Wow.
I mean, if you put 20% of the black vote that went to the Republican Party, I don't care if it's statewide or if it's nationally. If black people, and that's how powerful our vote is, and that's why we have to be so much more frugal about giving it away. If we work 20%, and Republicans will work hard for that, knowing they're going to get 20% of the vote, and then you got Democrats knowing that they're going to give 20%, you would make both parties work for the vote. And that's the whole point of my job, and that's the whole point of getting more folks involved and playing both sides of politics. We have no political leverage right now.
Well, here's the other thing, too. I also, during the summer, was studying Reconstruction. I went back to the day because, it's amazing that back, after emancipation, the great President Abraham Lincoln, he's my greatest favorite president, Abraham Lincoln, and I was reading about what happened when the citizens had their freedom and how it happened that they became elected in the House and Senate.
Mm-hmm.
So I got a book in that, and I actually studied Louisiana. That was like a real progressive state as far as movement in the political scene for the newly freed citizens. And what I come up with was that a lot of people that were fighting in the North, black soldiers with the Northern soldiers during the Civil War, and there were people that were more educated with books.
Mm-hmm.
They had more education, and a lot of people that were freed that had great oratorical skills, they actually ran for delegate for the party.
Right.
And I never hear that talked about, and that's one thing I thought of. If I was,
I can definitely tell you that the Michigan Republican Party is more focused on delegate getting, because we have a lot of empty seats in Michigan. In the urban areas, those seats are empty, and there's no reason we shouldn't be filling them and getting more folks involved, Abe. So you're definitely right about that. A lot of the things, some of those things in terms of political operations never change. And we need to do a better job of in the grassroots of getting more black delegates, and we're working on that as we speak, Abe. So I appreciate you calling in all the way from Grand Blanc, huh? I appreciate that. Thank you so much. We're about to go to a break on the Wayne Bradley Show. But when we be back, we got a couple calls. We got my man Walter, we got Dorian, we got Michael calling in. So looking forward to talking to all you gents on the other side of the break. You're listening to the Wayne Bradley Show on 9:10 a.m. Your superstation.
Lucky stars, it's the rap czar, tuck it in. My bite like a Ben 10 to my chagrin. You never win, model thin, walking, cracking your shin. She gives in every time that I spin. Square up, bow down to the kings of the hall. We way gone, talk while we ball. So what's cracking with y'all?
Native New Yorker, the slick talker, keep in order.
Offer not valid in all states or where prohibited by law. Loans are subject to lender approval. See website for details.
Hey, man, where'd you get all that extra cash? Yo, keep it down. I went online to 45cash.com yesterday, and bam! Whoa. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to scare you. $4,000 was in my account today. Wait a minute. 45cash.com helps you get $4K just like that? You know it! 45cash.com's lenders provide fast, cash personal loans for up to $5,000 for people like me with any type of credit. Man, I'm always short on cash. Do you think 45cash.com will give me the cash I need fast?
If you need extra cash fast, go to 45cash.com. Just have a checking account and a regular source of income. Go to 45cash.com and you can get the loan you need now, regardless of your credit. Go to 45cash.com from your smartphone or computer to get that cash you need. Visit 45cash.com. Type www.45cash.com directly into the address bar. That's 45cash.com. 45cash.com.
910 AM Superstation is in a league of its own. We are the only talk radio station in the Metro Detroit area sensitive to the African American community.
Make sure you join us on what station?
910 AM, the Superstation.
910 AM.
910 AM. On 910 AM Superstation.
910 AM Superstation, Metro Detroit's only African American based talk radio station. 910 AM Superstation is the voice of the people. Don't believe me? Just listen.
I absolutely love this radio station. This station gets me through the work week.
And we don't just show love to the callers. We see the comments and the posts too.
I'm always on the go, so being able to watch all my favorite hosts on 910 AM mobile app is amazing.
So when you think of 910 AM Superstation, we want you to tune in, call in, and don't forget to find us on social media. We're the hottest station in town. Whatever you need, it's right here on 910 AM Superstation. The most powerful voices in the urban community. 910 AM Superstation gives you the flip side, the real side. This is our side.
Listen live now.
The number one station, period.
And on that note, let's get back to the program.
You're listening to 910 AM Superstation, Detroit's only urban talk radio station.
Welcome back to the Wayne Bradley Show on 910 AM the Superstation. You got to thank my board operator there bringing that G-Funk in after that break. Jawan, he's a young cat, but he brings that funk. I appreciate it, young brother. Appreciate it. So we've been having a good conversation today. A lot of good folks calling in. What do we start off talking about? It was just so many things. We started off talking about, I think we were talking about gay marriage with the cakes, baking cakes, and who would turn them down. Just so many wide open topics here on this tonight. We've been having a good time. So thanks a lot for everyone that's also watching on Facebook Live. I appreciate that as well. Michelle, we've got a lot of topics. We were just talking about Ray Moore, and we're also talking about the challenges that both the Republican and the Democrat Party are having with black voters. So let's bring the real fire. Let's bring the heat. Let's bring my man Walter to the lines. Yes, indeed. Let's bring Walter. Walter, welcome to the show. See, look at that. They got to hate. They got it. That's okay. Bring in the crowd. See, that's what I'm talking about. There we go. If you're going to bring the hate, you got to bring the love for Walter. If you're going to bring the hate, you got to bring the love for my man Walter. Walter, welcome to the show, sir.
Hey, now I know what Jawan think about me.
What's going on, Walter?
He's trying to sound like he's so nice when he answers them phones.
He said it's all love, Walter. It's all love. You know, you're just a villain now, man. You're like a villain on the show, man. You're like a villain, period, on here. You know, like you're the Raiders. You're the Raiders, man. You wearing all black. When you call, they get scared around here, man. What's going on with you?
I know they get to shaking and quaking. I don't sound like no typical caller. I ain't going to sound like a typical caller. I'm my own person. I'm my own man, and I'm a bring it man. I ain't going to compromise. So don't shut me down, shout me down, or none of that nonsense like Mr. Alexander like to do. You come on too strong for Mr. Alexander and my man
Bullock,
Mongo from the Congo.
They try to shut you down, Walter. They try to shut you down.
Oh, man, Mongo won't even let me in because he know I'm a blast his boy Osama Obama, so he gets mad. Him and his so-called self-proclaimed attorney of his on his show. They talk about the same stuff every Saturday. It's the same old repeated broken record stuff. In fact, I'm about to give him a rating. From 0 to 10, guess what I give him?
What you give him, Walter?
-2 million.
Oh, man, you're brutal on these guys, man. You're brutal on them, Walter. So I know you were listening in. I gotta get your opinion on this, and I know you're gonna blow the airways up on this. How do you feel? Now I know this is gonna just chap your behind. I even gotta ask this question because I know how you feel. How do you feel when you hear people compare African Americans as minorities to when we were talking about earlier with the homosexual community? Do you think that those are in the same category of discrimination and minorities? Do you think that, Walter? Break that down for me.
The devil burning, blistering hell, no. It ain't no comparison. That's an insult coming from the sodomites, the sin of sodomy. The problem is we were born African Americans.
Yes, we were.
And it wasn't a choice. Yes. Homosexuality is a choice. It is an abominable choice. It's either caught or taught. And there's other circumstances, reason people turn out like that. I don't call them the slang names like I used to. I have more mercy and grace and love for them.
A kinder, gentler Walter. I like that.
Yeah, oh yeah. I mean, they're sinner. You separate the sin from the sinner, but their sin is abomination. I'm gonna tell you what. If I'm gonna take a chance on going to hell, I take it with Madam, not Adam. That's what I think. That's how filthy that sin is. How can you be a man to wake up the next morning with a stinking behind man? Laying in the bed, rubbing each other's hair and stuff on your legs and chest. How filthy
Walter, I don't even know why I got you started, man. I knew I already knew, Walter. I'm gonna stop you before you get us both in trouble on the airwaves here, man. You off the hook, man.
Hey, I want to say something about this communism coming from Dr. Mack and Al and your boys. Those people, let me see. I'm gonna tell you something.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Mack is a socialist, a communist, a fascist, and a Hitlerism type of guy.
Mm-hmm.
See, his code language talk has nothing. He does not want tax cuts. They reject it. Okay, they talking about this Bill Bridges, let the white Republicans conservative Bill Bridges with blacks like they ain't got nothing to prove to blacks because their agenda and their platform uplifts blacks. The problem is blacks, they have their minds trained to hate them anyway. That's why I say if you give them mercy and grace, they will reject it. And I got scriptures to back that up too. They did Jesus the same way. His own kind crucified him. I'm gonna tell you something.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna tell you what Dr. Jacko Mack wants. He wants food stamps for the black man. He wants WIC. He wants.
You know what? I don't know if that's exactly what he wants. Jobs. No, man.
No, that's what because he rejects the conservative way. He wants Head Start. I hear these people all the time. And they think, and nobody is pressing blacks to vote people that they vote for. And like those blacks, they dug them up out of their holes in Alabama to go pick them up on buses. I'm pretty sure they took the sick and the shut in. Every black they can get to go out there and vote for a communist, a baby murdering senator who promotes murdering babies, homosexuality, the anti-God, anti-Christ, anti-Jew, anti-military agenda, high taxes. He just a hashed out repeat of every demoniac Democrat politician there is. And them Negroes ain't have sense enough to go vote for the right person. Judge Moore was cheated. He got and that guy got in on fraud and lies. Judge Moore was the best candidate. The reason they hated him without cause. All that women crap is nonsense. 100% pure lies.
Well, you know what? But to be fair, Walter, to be fair, now this is what I got to say. We both black men here. He discussed the idea of getting rid of every amendment after the 10th. And all right, so these are the two things that I think motivated black. I don't think the pedophile thing is the reason that black folks came out. I think it was his discussion.
100% made up. No, the Negroes came out because they are stuck on the 10th floor of stupid.
There's two
they
things.
Will vote for a demoniac Democrat because he's a black. Because he's not necessarily black, but
let's be fair here, Walter. Let's be fair. The two things he said that I would be concerned as a Republican that works for Republicans, and if this was my client, I would be epic face palming at this. He said that he thinks that if you just got rid of every amendment past the 10th, you wouldn't have a lot of the problems you have in America. That would be concerning. And then the other thing that he said was that the time that America was at its greatest was that when we had slavery. And that's when he said, well, you know what? Yeah, slavery was kind of bad, but at least everyone had their families. So to me, the pedophilia was the thing that might have encouraged more Republicans not to vote or maybe to write in Nick Saban. But what you got from black folks was he used language that the NAACP and the black churches could go around and float this information saying that this dude wants to get rid of it. He wants to put poll taxes in. He don't want black folks voting. He thinks that the best time of America was during slavery. I mean, those are the things to me that motivated black Democrats to get out and vote.
And the problem is they went out and voted for slavery. Their party.
That might be true, but the damage of
their contradiction.
Yeah, well, listen, there is a big contradiction with black people voting Democrat. I get that, but this candidate in particular, if you're just weighing it up, if you're the average black voter that's not thinking about Republican, Democrat, or conservative, whatever, Doug Jones was a guy that was an attorney that had arrested and put up the KKK guys that burned up a church down there, and you got a guy that's talking about he wants to. I mean, that's just to me. As a simple-minded black voter, if you weren't really thinking about any of this other stuff, you weren't listening to the pedophile rumors or anything else, the average black voter, when they hear that somebody would be willing to get rid of every amendment after the 10th, and he believed that slavery was good because at least families were together, they actually came out and voted against this guy stronger than they did for their support for President Obama. So I think that they were scared into voting for this man.
Well, the problem is his agenda. He was going to be there in the Congress to back Donald Trump's agenda, which is not anti-black. And I'm sick and tired of these blacks calling here, like Dr. Jekyll Mack, talking about.
Well, I'll defend Donald Trump on that.
Suppression. There is no voter suppression toward blacks. If anybody's stealing votes, it's the Democrat Party. Barack Obama got in by the fake news media that lied him in office and stole votes. In some counties, I think some counties in New Jersey, you mean to tell me not one black conservative? I mean, one, not necessarily black, but not one conservative vote showed up? No. If anybody got in by fraud, it's the guy they voted for, Barack Obama, the food stamp president, the anti-Jew president. And by the way, Barack Obama's going around lying, talking about this economy as a result of his policies.
Well, he's going to take credit for that. It's funny to even hear him say that because it's because he's gone now that the economy is improving.
That slithering snake need to go right back to his snake hole with his lies because he's the worst president in the history of the U.S. of A. And by the way, anybody that says this, if my girl came up pregnant, any president says, or any human being says, if my daughter came up pregnant, would I punish her with a baby? That is Satan incarnate. And by the way, Barack Obama is an evil man. And by the way, Dr. Mack is not a smart person. He's promoting socialism, Hitlerism, fascism, socialism, Bernie Mackism. No, Bernie Sandersism. And by the way, Miss Marcia, she wants Bernie. Bernie is worse than Barack Obama and Hillary. No difference.
All right, Walter. Well,
he's just a rehashed out version of Barack insane, Obama, Ali, Omar, Rashid, Raheed, Obama. I'm out of here.
Thank you, Walter. Thank you, Walter, for coming in today. It's always a pleasure having my man Walter in the studio, calling in, giving his insight. I gotta have those. Yeah. Thank you, Walter. Salute. Man, like I said, man, it's like my family here. I feel like it's all my family. Dr. Mack, Walter, we might all have different arguments, but we're family here. So we're gonna go to Michael. Michael is next. Thank you, Michael.
Hey, Wayne, man, there's so much. I don't know if I can get to it all, but look, about the whole homosexual thing, I think Umar Johnson said it best. He said homosexuality is about the freedom to engage in a behavior where civil rights for blacks was about the right to exist as a human being.
There you go.
And those two things are totally different. Gays have never been asked to sit at the back of the bus. They were never enslaved. As a matter of fact, homosexuals have the highest incomes of any single group in America.
That's why they were able to legislate and get that stuff done the way they did on both sides of the aisle. They know how to they spend the money wisely and lobbied. They didn't protest.
As a libertarian, I believe that the government has to give them certain rights. Even though they vote for the Democrats and the high taxes, if they want their property to pass to each other, the government has no right to stop that.
I agree.
But the government does not have the right to force me to use my energy to cater a wedding, make flowers, or anything like that. So as long as they realize that you don't have the right to my services, do whatever you want. Now, to the bigger issues of the night, right? The bottom line is this, and this is the reason why I became a conservative libertarian, because Ronald Reagan said the problem with our liberal friends is not that they don't have knowledge, it's that they know so many things that simply is not so. Trickle-down economics, for one. Trickle-down economics is not taught in any economics book. It is a caricature. We believe in supply-side economics, which simply says everybody gets to keep more of their own money. And guess what? If you're rich, you got more of your own money to keep. But we don't believe in taking money from somebody and giving it to somebody else. That's the Democrats. So we believe in supply-side economics, which has worked. It has proved its merit over and over again. Now, the reason why I became, like I said, the reason I became a conservative libertarian is because I was an over-the-road truck driver. So I've been in Appalachia. I've been on Indian reservations, places that are economically poorer than any black place in America. You don't see barbed wire on the grocery stores. You don't go and pay behind bulletproof glass. So what am I trying to say? The Democratic Party, in my opinion, has done more to destroy black people than the whole legacy of slavery that they want to jump up and down about. And I'm going to tell you how. Okay. Where do black people graduate at the highest rates? They graduate at the highest rates from HBCUs. Why is that? Because HBCUs do not practice affirmative action. The problem with black people is, in my opinion, yes, we were discriminated against. Yes, we had all of these problems. The problem is the liberal answer to our problems has only been to re-enslave us. There's a book called Mismatch that definitively shows that when you take a bright black kid and put them in college that they're not commiserate with their SAT score and grade scores, that black person is more likely to flunk out. But if you put them at an HBCU, which do not practice affirmative action, guess what? They graduate. When the University of Michigan got rid of affirmative action, what happened? The graduation rates for blacks increased. In California, they got rid of affirmative action. You had a 50% increase in kids graduating in STEM areas, and you had an increase in graduation across the board, even though you had less kids going into the more selective Berkeley and UCLA. So I am a conservative because I know FDR passed the Davis-Bacon Act, which said we're going to kick black people out of jobs. LBJ
Take it back to the Davis-Bacon Act, my man.
Hated Fannie Lou Hamer and was the president who called us the N-word. And basically he said, I'm going to have these N-words voted for me.
200 years.
Because the Democratic Party wants us dependent on government. Now, let me leave with this last point, right?
Go ahead, Mike.
How many times on this station have you heard people say, we did better as a race under segregation? Do you know what they really are saying? We did better when we owned where we live. And as conservatives, and I just tell anybody, you look at the conservative platform and you look at the Democratic Party platform. Now, the people are flawed. The people have their problems, and we got to get them straight. But I don't think anybody can look at the Republican platform, the ideas that they run on, even though the people who are actually in the party don't support them 100%, and the Democratic Party platform, and the two have nothing in common. The Republican platform is superior. So what we're saying is, black people, own where you live. Walter Williams said he did not want black people to become a political constituency whose whole fate is judged by every election cycle, whether it's 4 years or 6 years. He wanted black people dependent on themselves, ourselves. The Democrats want us dependent on them. They want to be our protectors. They want to be the ones who give us everything. And when they do that, we do not own where we live. We built the strongest community ever coming right out of Reconstruction. How did we do that? I got Booker T. Washington's book, and I review it every now and again. He said they didn't even give us education. But from 1865 to 1910, 50% of the black people out of slavery are literate. And now in Memphis today, only 55% of the black people are literate. So in 111 years, we only increased by 5% of literacy in Memphis. The bottom line is the Democratic Party has our vote, and in my opinion, they want us dependent upon them. And I'll make this last point for real, though.
Go ahead, Michael.
And the point is, we know how you eliminate poverty. The Democrats don't want to eliminate poverty. They want to help you while you're poor. The Democrats don't want to stop people from being disadvantaged.
That's their vote. That's their voting block. That's their voting block.
Exactly. They want to help you while you're disadvantaged. And to quote Maxine, Auntie, Mama, whatever, she said the Republicans want you out of the projects, and we want to build more projects for you. If that's not telling black folks, the Democrats
did she really say that?
Did she did say that.
Auntie Maxine said, let me find that clip. Oh, my goodness. She said, say that again for me, Michael, because I want to find it.
She said, the Republicans want to kick you out of the projects, and we want to build more projects for you.
Oh, Lord. That's Auntie Maxine. That's the Democrat Party for you. I appreciate that, man.
Yes, sir. So, listen, man, we're right. We didn't want war and more. We don't support Bannon. We don't support all of this crazy stuff. All we say is The government is what has had its foot on our neck, and we just simply believe that black people should do what the Jews did. And what the Jews did is they put their money with themselves. Why do these black athletes send money back to these universities when they graduate? They should send them to HBCUs. They should say, thank you, Michigan, for allowing me to graduate from the university, but I'm not giving you a dime. I'm sending it to the HBCUs. If we got back to whereas we restored our family and we depended on each other, we'll be great. But as long as they keep riding that donkey, man, hey, they're going to get what they get.
Well, I appreciate that, Mike. I appreciate your insight, my friend. Thank you for calling in. It's always good to get the perspectives from my liberal friends, my conservative friends, and my libertarian friends, man. I appreciate that. Benarian, I can't read. That's a long question there. What's the right way? All right, listen, man. I'm trying to read and host at the same time. I'm gonna see if I can catch that question for you real quick, Mike. All right, we're gonna bring my friend Dorian in, who's been waiting. Dorian, thank you for waiting on the line.
Hello, Wayne. How are you?
All right, man. How you doing?
I'm living the dream. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. I can't complain. Sitting here talking to all kind of good folks tonight. We've had a very lively show today, man. I appreciate you calling in. What did you think about that Alabama election, my friend?
Well, that's what I was going to ask you about. I listened. I think let's take a pause for race for a second. But what do you think the Republican Party has to do? Because you're a Republican Party payroll. What do you think the Republican Party has to do to rebuild from that tragic race that happened in Alabama?
Well, as I was talking earlier with Dr. Mack, I think that that is going to be use the word a controlled burn. That's in Alabama. I think Alabama is going to have to really work hard to change how that looks in Alabama. But I think in states like Michigan, where we have quality Senate candidates, and in other states you'll have that as well, we just have to get out a better message and kind of show that was a misnomer in Alabama, that is not the way most Republican candidates or Republicans feel in general, and do our best to move past that. That should be in our rearview mirror.
Well, I was the night of the election. I saw people, very conservative folks, even here in Michigan, blaming Mitch McConnell. But I believe Mitch McConnell was right all along.
Yep. I blame Steve Bannon.
You need to have candidates who can win.
Yep.
Because guess what? Bannon groomed this candidate, Roy Moore. Moore has never won a statewide Alabama race without more than 52 to 53% of the vote.
Right.
And deep red Alabama. That says something. That says that probably upwards to 20% of Republicans, even in Alabama, do not trust this man's judgment.
Right.
They don't trust his judgment whatsoever.
Well, yeah, I mean,
right now,
Trump didn't even endorse him. That's the thing. If they had listened to Trump even, we'd be in better shape in this situation.
Well, President Trump, he went and endorsed him because he realized that the Senate seat was in jeopardy,
right.
And you can't blame him on that because his agenda's on the line.
Right. No, I get it.
It was a last-minute effort, but we need candidates who can win. Roy Moore, if he could never, even in elections where Republicans in Alabama were winning with 65, 75% of the vote, if he could not get more than 53% up against the Democrats, that is saying something. These extreme right-wing conservatives,
right.
God bless them, they want to blame Mitch McConnell. But this is not on Mitch McConnell.
No, it's not at all on Mitch McConnell, if you ask me.
It's not at all Mitch McConnell. He said it best. You need candidates who can win. Roy Moore could not win.
Well,
These candidates just cannot win.
I think that's one thing that I've always been, you're cautious of in Republican primaries is because the thing is who's always the most conservative as opposed to who can win the general election. And I think that Roy Moore was probably by far the most conservative candidate in that election, but would he win a general election with all the different things that he had going on? I think that question obviously was answered, and Republicans, a lot of Republicans went and voted for Nick Saban, wrote his name in. So I think that those are the things you got to look at when you're bringing in these candidates. Is this somebody that people are really going to line up with? I think that people kind of get caught up in the fact that Donald Trump was a unique candidate Okay, so everyone else is not going to have those same results as Donald Trump, whether it's to carry themselves that way or even, like I said, in Alabama where Donald Trump won by a large margin, Roy Moore, didn't get over 50%. So I think that it's all about picking the right candidates.
That's right. And, Steve Bannon brought himself even here to Michigan trying to find candidates to run. And I think we in Michigan, as the Republican Party in Michigan, we need to stand strong up against that, because if it didn't work in Alabama, it sure as hell is not going to work in Michigan. I'll tell you that right now.
Amen to that, Dorian. I hope that all the candidates are listening.
Oh, my God. So I'm in a cafe and someone just is looking at me laughing at me. But, So like I said, you need to stand strong, because, like I said, if it's not working in Alabama, it sure as heck is not going to work in Michigan. And I think we need to get that clear to many people in the party here in Michigan.
I totally agree. Well, thank you, Dorian. I appreciate that perspective. It's good hearing from a young man with that perspective. Republicans, I hope you're listening to Dorian. He's only like 18, man. He's like a freshman in college, man. He's full of knowledge, man. That brother's been all over the place. He's got some of the best pics and selfies in the game. So thank you, Dorian, for calling in, my friend. Shouts out to Mario Morrow, who's watching me on Facebook, man. I know you got some big announcements coming on 9-10 this weekend, or you're going to be on the show later this weekend, so I'll be checking that out. What's up, Richard Farr? How you doing, sir? Give us a call, 313-209-9000. We've got another half hour here left. We're going to talk about the Roy Moore situation. We don't really need to talk about that anymore. I guess that we can go past that. We'll spend this last half hour. Let's talk about something a little more juicy. We'll talk about the Me Too movement. The Me Too movement. Robin Barnes said she was going to come in and be a guest on. We're going to talk about this more. Well, let's talk a little bit about the Me Too movement and how this has affected politics, entertainment, and who is next. Who's next in the Me Too movement? Because you got to be careful out here, folks. They're not playing around. Russell Simmons had to put out another statement today saying that he is innocent, because now, see, this is what happens. Now it's gone to rape charges, and it's not, this is all 20-plus years ago, so it won't be a criminal issue. It'll be, look at Charlene. Yeah. Make America great again. That's what we're going to do here. Oh, stop it. We are just trying to make America great again, and that's what we're going to do here on the Wayne Bradley Show on 9-10 a.m. your Superstation. I appreciate everyone calling in. Maybe I'll ask Charlene to come here. I need a female to come in here as well and to join me and talk about this Me Too movement, because Me Too is going up. They're moving around. And so I want to talk about that here in the last half hour. We got a half hour left on the Wayne Bradley Show. It's been fun today. Came in a little early and sat down with Spudd. We had like the soul edition of Hannity and Combs going on here. That was more fun. Which is more systemic, institutional sexism or institutional racism? Man, Benarian, you need to come on here with some of these questions. That's a good one. What do you think is more systemic? I'm going to go more systemic probably with the racism, because it goes in ways that now with this whole Me Too movement, it might affect the way some of the hiring and things go. Some men and some companies might think about that. But I would think right now institutional racism has had more of an adverse effect on communities than institutional sexism. But I'm sure there would be some feminists that would love to argue that point on me. I guarantee that, Benarian. Thanks for calling in, man. You got to come in. You're a state rep candidate. I need you to come in here one of these days. So why wasn't the face of the Me Too movement on the Time magazine the actual founder? I don't know, Linda. I don't know about that. You know why? Because they were celebrities, and celebrities sell magazines for Time magazine, so they use some celebrities. You're more likely to pick up the magazine cover with who's on there, Winona Judd or somebody. It was a bunch of famous actors, so that's why they put them on the cover, to sell that Time magazine. And so again, it's going to be interesting. We're going to talk about that coming back from the break. I'm going to see if I can get Charlene in. She's got a storied history and media here, so she might have some interesting stories about this whole Me Too movement. So give us a call on the Wayne Bradley Show on 910 AM Superstation. We'll be back shortly.
Offer not valid in all states and where prohibited by law. Loans are subject to lender approval. See website for details.
Hey, man, where'd you get all that extra cash? Yo, keep it down. I went online to 45cash.com yesterday, and bam! Whoa. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to scare you. $4,000 was in my account today. Wait a minute. 45cash.com helps you get $4K just like that? You know it! 45cash.com's lenders provide fast, cash personal loans for up to $5,000 for people like me with any type of credit. Man, I'm always short on cash. Do you think 45cash.com will give me the cash I need fast?
If you need extra cash fast, go to 45cash.com. Just have a checking account and a regular source of income. Go to 45cash.com and you can get the loan you need now, regardless of your credit. Go to 45cash.com from your smartphone or computer to get that cash you need. Visit 45cash.com. Type www.45cash.com directly into the address bar. That's 45cash.com. 45cash.com.
910 AM Superstation is the voice of Detroit and the talk of the town. Weekdays, weeknights, weekends, and everything in between. If you want national topics, we have it.
Is this DACA challenge that the president has presented? He rolled back the...
Well, he hasn't done it yet. Anybody who says that they know what he's going to do before it happens is making a mistake.
Local discussions, we have that too.
You know, the Pistons, the Red Wings, those arenas, they were made for people primarily in the suburbs, I think, coming in.
Entertainment and relationships? Listen up. And if you thought we were restricted to only the radio, think again. You can hear all of this on 910 AM as well as on Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire TV, YouTube Live, YouTube Red, and Facebook Live. That's right. Download the 910 AM Superstation app in the Apple, Android, or Windows App Store today and stay connected to the best station in town. It's the new show that everybody's talking about.
What you doing, man?
For all the wrong reasons.
You're that lady that does everything. Just, no, ma'am. Don't do everything.
Catch 910 AM Superstation Uncut, airing every Saturday night at 1 a.m. on WADL Detroit.
Oh, hell no!
You'll see the drama.
That's why you got all those cougars running around. Ooh, because shout out to my mama.
The comedy.
So I remember one time, a long time ago, a popular radio personality tried to fill on me, Coco. And,
the off-the-chain opinions.
Y'all need to get down with Mr. Dan Gilbert. You know Mr. Dan. I'd be like, man, take Dan Gilbert.
And hear the calls that make you say, bye, Felicia.
Appreciate you holding, man. How are you?
You know what, man? I like your show. Please don't put Sam Riddle on there, man.
Tune into the hottest new show in late nights. It's 910 AM Superstation Uncut, and it's only on WADL Detroit.
The world is yours. The world is yours.
It's mine, it's mine, it's mine. Whose world is this? It's yours. It's mine, it's mine, it's mine. Whose world is this?
The world is yours. The world is yours.
It's mine, it's mine, it's mine.
I sip the Don Pete, watching Gandhi till I'm charged and writing in my book of rhymes. All the words past the margin. The whole of mic I'm throbbing. Mechanical movement, understandable smooth issue that murderers move with. The thief's theme. Play me at night, they won't act right. The fiend of hip hop has got me stuck like a air pipe. The mind activation, react like I'm facing time like Pappy Mason. With pins I'm embracing, wipe the sweat off my dome, spit the phlegm on the streets. Suede Timbs on my beats, makes my cipher complete. Weather cruising in a 6 cab, I'm on Montero Jeep, I can't call it. The beats make me falling asleep, I keep
Welcome
falling.
back to the Wayne Bradley Show. We're live here on 910 AM Superstation. We were just talking about, I said, we can't go on and not talk about this Me Too situation because I'm kind of scared here myself as a guy. I'm seeing Christmas parties, you can't do the Christmas parties anymore. And I wanted to bring out our host, not, you said it that quick in the show.
Host of Mind Your Business that follows you on Thursday nights, Charlene Mitchell.
Mitchell.
Thanks for inviting me into your wonderful show, Wayne Bradley. I think you're a great host. I really do.
Well,
and I'm saying that as a professional journalist, broadcast journalist, I think that you carry yourself well on the air, got a good voice. You ask the right questions.
I try.
But some of the people who call into your show, oh, my God. Driving in tonight, I heard some of the most.
You heard Walter.
Some of the most, well, I hear Walter listens to the station from early morning to late at night. I think
man.
he turns off right when I come on.
No. Well, now you might get him to call you
Walter
just for that.
Has never called me.
Walter, you hear that?
If it comes up, Walter, do not take
See,
the
now,
call.
you better take that call
No,
from Walter.
but Walter just needs some new material because he says the same thing all day long, and he's been doing that for a year. You know, the Devilcrats and all that stuff. You got to come up with some new stuff. But anyway,
we can work on that.
Getting
Walter.
back to what you asked about the Me Too.
Yes.
I haven't logged on to Me Too, but I certainly can relate to it. Not in a sexual nature. I've never, knock on Formica here, that in my almost 2 decades as a TV news reporter working all over the country, big cities, Baltimore, Washington, D.C., Boston, and then back here in Detroit, I've never had another individual that I worked with, come on to me in an unpleasant sexual nature.
Right.
And I don't call flirting and that kind of stuff.
Well, that's
what I was
going to say.
There's a fine line there between a flirt and harassment.
Right.
And I think that there are a few opportunists out there that will take a flirt and use it in a bad way.
Well, that's what I was wondering.
Okay, it does that happen? But when I worked in Baltimore, I worked for the Randolph-Hearst station. It was an NBC station on Television Hill, right next door to the station where Oprah worked. Got to throw in that we were buddies back then. Oprah, remember me? Anyway, I went to a party that was thrown by our news director, whose name I will not mention, and he is still prominent in media at a major newspaper in this country.
Okay.
As an editorial director or editor, whatever you call them, and one of the executive producers and an anchor woman. All these were, 2 white men, 1 white female, and they invited a few of the reporters. I was one of the reporters that was invited to this party, and frankly, I was scared to death. They were smoking weed, and this wasn't medical marijuana back then. They were smoking weed. Had some cocktails and stuff, which I'd have a cocktail or two, but they were passing around Polaroid photographs that they had taken of one another.
Ew.
And they were not fully clothed. And I think
this is coworkers.
I think it was a sort of a test to see how you responded. And I politely found a way to say that I needed to get home.
Okay.
And I was thoroughly disgusted, but I was also afraid because I didn't want to say the wrong thing and be fired, and they could accuse me of whatever, I don't know. And I just acted like, it was just so funny, and I got to go
moving
because I got a couple other places to go, and I got to be home. My husband, yada yada, whatever. And and I left. And that Monday morning, nothing was said about it. Nobody said, "Hey, how'd you like the party?" The party didn't exist.
Okay.
And for me, it did not exist. Was I going to go back and go to who? The vice president of the company and say, "Guess what? You're news director." I'd be out of there in a second.
And you would have never probably got another job.
Because who was I?
Right.
This, little black girl just starting out in the business.
And I get that that's part of the reason why these people haven't complained against Harvey Weinstein. And it took so long for certain people to speak up. But now...
Yeah, I have a master's degree in broadcast journalism, radio, TV, film. My daddy didn't waste his money.
Right.
I wasn't going to go and get thrown out by doing a one-woman protest, and I didn't know anything about all that. I stayed in my lane, did my job, and hey, everybody, how you doing today? What you doing this weekend? Going to my mom's for dinner.
Do you think that because of this Me Too movement, could it hurt women getting certain jobs or being in certain environments now because you'll have men that are scared and don't want to give a young woman, let's say a young beautiful woman, a shot because he's like it's not even worth my time now at this point.
Wayne, I think you made a very good point, and that very well could happen, but then that would be discrimination.
It could be discrimination.
And you don't have to be young and beautiful. We've seen some of the ladies. I mean, they're older now, but I don't want to put
I'm not putting even on. Hey, I'm just saying,
but
if it's to somebody is attractive, whatever that might be, and if a guy is sitting there like, you know what, I don't, and we're not talking about for TV. We're talking about maybe in a front office setting.
But that's why I say there's a fine line because those people that are in high positions and you have so-called important jobs, men and women who spend the bulk of their day at work in an office or in an environment, and you basically, most of your friends are the people that you work with.
That's what the term work wife, work husband.
And many people I know have married people that they worked with, they met on the job. And I don't
usually their second wife.
And I don't see, well, it could be their second wife, their wife, whatever. But you know something? But you do meet people, and it could be a healthy relationship. But I think when two people have a real solid relationship, it's not just a fling, and you're working in the same environment, I think that couple needs to decide which one's going to leave and go work someplace else. So that you can then say, you know something? I had a relationship with Sue.
Right.
And I really am in love with her, and we're going to be engaged, but she's not going to work here anymore.
What do you think about all these people that are making these allegations now, 20, 30 years later? Like, do you think that someone should lose their job? Like, because we're having a situation where just allegations are coming out. Russell Simmons, Tavis Smiley. It just seems like the allegations. John Conyers. I mean,
I hate to say this because I don't like seeing this happen to these men. I mean, it hurts me.
Right.
But I believe most of it.
Okay.
I believe most of it because I've been around these kind of people.
Right.
A lot. And I see how they behave.
Okay. Fair
because
enough.
they get high and mighty, and women do flock to them.
And
but a man has to learn how to not.
He can't
always, because a woman could be kind of tempting you and wanting you to do something, say something, and she may have motives. You have to be smart.
I agree.
Men have to get smarter, and men have to mind their manners as well. If a woman doesn't have any interest in you, leave her alone. Don't say, I hired you, and, I did you this big favor. Hey, baby, you don't even want to come over here and give me a little kiss on the cheek? No, I don't. I'll give you a slap. A big, fat, damn
That's old
slap.
school. Like I said, I'm from I couldn't even imagine approaching a woman like that. It's like, I guess the time frame, like I always hear about the 80s and 70s, 80s, you smack the chick on the behind with the folder as she's walking past.
Man.
All that kind of like.
And you walk past a construction site and the guy's whistle, which is really just flirting.
You can't do any of that.
You can't. But women, I think basically, some of us, like to be flirted with. We like to know that after we've spent an hour and a half in the mirror doing our hair and nails and face and putting.
You deserve a compliment.
I want somebody to say, "Man, you really look good in that dress." And I'm going to say, sexual harassment. That's not sexual harassment.
Man, I thought I was losing my mind here.
That's a compliment.
Man can't be a man.
Now, if you add some other things to that.
Yeah, now if you add
I like the way your cleavage is showing, or I like the way the dress, hugs your behind. That's sexual harassment.
Right. Okay.
But if you just give me a compliment, I'm going to say thank you. And you look, mighty gentlemanly yourself tonight.
Thank you.
We clean up well, don't we?
Yeah.
We can't just make it so that we can't talk to each other in this world. Men and women are meant to be attracted to each other. But I think that we're going to have a whole new definition. I think we have to define what regular harassment is. Because you can be harassed by your own sex. It has nothing to do with sex.
Right.
They can just get on somebody just bugs you every single day and needles you to the point where they just want to mess your head up so that you'll quit your job or something.
Right.
Or so that you'll mess up so they can fire you. That's harassment. Sexual harassment is different, and I don't think we've clearly defined it. But I think that when people are accused, even those who I think may be guilty, I'm leaning toward, they did it.
Right.
They still need to be able to say, no, I didn't, and we have to have proof.
Amen.
We have to have proof. Now, I don't know about a statute of limitations. 40 years is a long time, but...
And she didn't even say it was really sexual for like the whole thing with Roy, and I wasn't.
And it's not over.
Yeah.
It's not over.
You think that
wait till they start coming out against clergy.
Oh, well, that's,
Okay, no, but that's the last one. And a lot of clergy are talking about everybody else. Now, that will be something.
Oh, yeah. Well,
not that I'm looking forward to
we had
that.
It happened to Eddie Long. It happened.
Yeah.
So,
I think we're going to, you're getting the entertainers, the sports figures.
The industry that I'm surprised it hasn't gone
media
to yet is the music industry. Now,
Richard Simmons. I mean, Russell Simmons.
Yeah,
Sorry,
Russell
Simmons.
Russell Simmons. That whole generation, the hip hop generation, that could be a real problem for a lot of folks. And I wouldn't want to bring up any of those names, but
I think the names will be brought up soon.
Okay.
But I thank you for having me in.
Well, thank you.
I have a guest waiting.
Promote the show one more time.
Mind Your Business comes on tonight from 9 to 11 p.m., and we have Aaron Sanders, who is a financial guru, knows a lot about finances and how small businesses should do their profile and do their planning so that they don't go out of business. And tax season is coming up, and he can tell us all about what's happening with, well, we don't really know what's happening on Capitol Hill, but there's going to be some changes. It could help you. It could hurt you. I don't know.
Most likely help you.
I hope it helps. Oh, God, I hope it helps me. I need help. I pay enough. I pay too much. We all say that, though, right?
Yes, we do.
Except for the very rich. Well, they say they pay too much, too. But we're going to talk to him about taxes.
Taxation is theft.
Yeah, and we have two entrepreneurs. We have Melody Parker, who goes by the name of Melody Fresh.
Oh, she's
with the Fresher brand.
While.
And she has some beautiful items and she has a new store in Royal Oak.
I know who she is.
And
yes.
we have Larry Anthony, who also has a clothing brand, Kill the Hate. And I love that. I love it. Because his logos, kill the hate.
Some of these folks here get to do fun stuff.
I'm going to help them try to sell some merchandise for Christmas gifts. Want to buy something? People are tired of getting a necktie every year. Give them a hoodie with Kill the Hate, or give them, if you have a young teenager, give them something. You have a little baby. He is so cute.
Thank you.
Oh, he's cute. Get him a little Kill the Hate onesie.
I can see that. They got onesies. Okay.
Because Republicans want to kill the hate too.
Yes, we do.
Right?
Yes, we do.
High five.
Yes, we do.
Love it.
Kill the hate. I'm with that.
And continue good luck with your show.
Thank you so much.
You bring a lot of class to the station.
I try my best.
Now, some of the callers, nah.
We're working on them. We got to keep them all keep them in our prayers.
Keep them in your prayers.
Thank you so much.
Okay, bye-bye.
Now, see, that's what I'm talking about. Getting some insight here on this, because I thought I was losing my mind. I said, I know there are women that spend hours getting ready to go to work in the morning, makeup, the hair. Are you really thinking that they don't want anyone to tell them they don't look nice for the day? Is that harassment? Glad we got that cleared up. Thank you, Charlene. Because, again, this whole Me Too thing is going all over the place at this point. Again, who's next? Kill the hate. Benarian, I couldn't read the questions and ask her at the same time. Let's see. You don't do drugs. Yeah, it's a lot of. I agree. The stuff that she's talking about, again, that's that 1980s, 90s kind of flavor. I wouldn't even dare ask those kind of questions. I wouldn't share pictures. You don't kick it with your coworkers like that. Again, folks, I give you my favorite phrase, and you listen closely. Never get the honey where you get your money. Stay focused, man. Stay focused. All right, we're going to go to JJ, who's on the line. JJ, thanks for calling in.
Hey, Wayne, good show tonight, man.
Thank you.
Hey, I'm glad she cleared it up, because I was like you, man. I was afraid to even look at girls.
Yeah, I'm glad she had a little clarification there. I'm still a little scared, though. I'm not going to lie. I think that I'm still going to play it safe for a little while before I hand out any compliments or anything. This Me Too thing has got a lot of folks weary. So, nice shoes. Yeah, but that's the only thing.
What she said about personal responsibility, because the girls that I hired to work with, if you tried to grab their butt in the coffee room, they would have busted a coffee pot over your head.
Yeah, man, I'm not. That's crazy. Like all these things that were going on, that's a totally different environment than how it is now. You can't think of doing anything like that.
Right, but you know what, man? We're going to have to hang James up and get that. I think it was Helen Reddy sang that song, I Am Woman, Hear Me Roar, with numbers too big to ignore.
Yes.
All right, man, God bless you. Great
JJ, man, thank you for calling in, man. I appreciate it, man. Appreciate it a lot. All right, we got about 5 minutes left here on the Wayne Bradley Show. Any fellas want to call in? What do you think is a safe compliment to give to the ladies where you won't get in trouble, where you won't be part of the Me Too movement? What do you suggest? I suggest keeping it cool. I wouldn't flirt with anybody at work. You just don't do that. Maybe I'm, like I said, shouts out to my teacher from Mumford High School. I always say, shouts out to Mr. Fancher. You gave me the game. Never get the honey where you get your money. Just a simple rule to abide by. Simple rule to abide by that keeps you out of all this trouble. Harvey Weinstein, he was definitely getting the honey where he was getting his money. He wouldn't have had to step down, but he was doing some awful things under the auspice of his job at the same time. And he's really the one that got the dominoes falling. After Harvey Weinstein, there's been a whole bunch of folks that have had to resign, quit their jobs. And again, like I said, to me, they're only scratching the surface of some of this rap music and the music, the music business in general. Russell Simmons would literally be scratching the surface of hip hop and its issues with all these kind of things going on. So it'll be interesting to watch how that plays out over the next couple months. Russell Simmons now is in the point where he had to send out a statement to clear his name. And that's what I would expect any man to do. Not quit, not settle, not throw it under the rug. Fight to keep your name clean. That's all you have left in this world is your name and your reputation. And if someone made those kind of allegations, in particular the stuff that they're saying against Russell Simmons, brother, you need to speak up and clear your name. Quickly, you need to speak up and clear your name. And so as we roll out here, we're going into the end of 2017. 2018 is upon us. We got a new election season coming up, getting excited about that. Fellas, just be cool. And like Charlene said, use discretion, use good judgment. I'm not with any of this flirting stuff at work. I just don't see any point in it. You're there to get, be productive. I understand, hey, I've spent 10, 12-hour days working too, but you know what? And I worked, with a woman on it. It just never occurred to me that would be the smart way to handle my business. And I just, I get it. We're all human, and we're going to all have temptations and all that good stuff. 30-plus years of management, huh, Rich? Experience, no issues, just compliment their work. That's the only thing they should compliment. I agree. Compliment the work. Do not compliment them on their looks, how they dress. I thought shoes might have been good because, they can't even tell what angle you're coming from on shoes. I think that's pretty ambiguous, but I agree. Compliment them on their work and nothing else, and that should be it. Let's go to Francis on the line. Francis, you're on.
Hi, Wayne?
Yes.
Hi. Like that lady that was sitting next to you said, if you can tell a woman don't want to be bothered, let her alone. Because do you remember that Lorena Bobbitt? She cut that man's private off and threw it across the road.
Oh, yes. You just made me quiver. Yes, I remember her.
Yeah. So, you never know. You might run across a woman like that. So, people are real, huh?
It was painful just thinking about that right now. Ooh.
Yeah. Ooh. So I thought I'd just throw that.
I definitely think that in terms of being aggressive and going after women that don't want you, that's a dead-end mission, okay? I totally don't get that. If a woman doesn't want you and she's making it clear, then that should be even easier to leave her alone. So, like, when we start talking about being aggressive with women and all that doesn't even register to me. But the idea for me is that I'm a nice guy. I feel like I'm capable of saying, hey, you look nice today. And I don't have, it's nothing sexual about that. There's nothing that I'm trying to go any further. But if I see a woman, walking down the street and she's got on something nice, I might say, hey, you look great today.
And a woman can tell the difference in the tone of your voice. She can tell if you're being nice or aggressive. And if she's interested in you, you'll know it. You don't have to be.
But I think that the blurred line here is that in these situations now, if someone said I did something when I was in 8th grade at Jesu, which was 30, or 25 years ago, I can't. I'm like, come on, how am I supposed to remember that? One, just the same way that we're talking about with this Judge Moore, these allegations. If you immediately report something, or if you immediately, even within 3 weeks, whatever it is, I just think it's hard to disprove anything after 40 years, and your reputation is left in tatters. Now, these guys that are quitting their jobs and all that, to me, you did something wrong. If I didn't do anything wrong, I'm not quitting my job, and I'm not settling with anybody. Not for that kind of lie.
That's true.
Not for that.
You know what? A lot of times men will say, well, that was 40 years ago. I don't remember. But it was 40 years ago. A woman remembers stuff like that.
No question. No question. I'm not saying that she, again, that's the rough position, especially as a man, questioning that. It just doesn't even sound good. But what the whole issue is that should a man not be able to, something he did, if he did 40 years ago, would that preclude him? In Roy Moore's case, they weren't even accusing him of being sexual. It was just inappropriate that he would try to hit on underage girls. And apparently in Alabama, I learned yesterday that you can get married at 14 in Alabama. And so, so maybe even if he's 30 years old, he's hitting on 15, he's courting. I don't know. That's just crazy. That's Alabama to me. I can't speak on that anymore, but it just, to me, the lines have been blurred. And this Me Too thing, I don't know if this is going to help women's causes down the road because there's so much happening so quick. People start to doubt it and start thinking it's a made-up thing. So, well, thank you so much, Francis.
Nice talking to you.
I appreciate you calling in. Thank you so much. We're finishing up the Wayne Bradley Show today, man. I appreciate everybody called in. I appreciate Spudd for coming in early and sitting down with me. We had a good time, man. We did the Black Hannity and Combs that night, so that was cool, man. Appreciate it. Thank you, everyone, for listening in. Tomorrow night, I'll be in. I might have Carrie coming in for the first hour with me. Got to handle some stuff with my daughter, but I appreciate everyone listening to the Wayne Bradley Show. We go to iTunes about an hour later, so if you missed anything, you can go on iTunes or your podcast, SoundCloud, or go to the website, conservativebro.com. Appreciate you listening in this evening. Have a good evening. You're listening to the Wayne Bradley Show, 9-10 a.m., you Superstation. Peace.
Stay in your place, play your position. They call my intuition. Go in this pocket, rob them while his friends watching. That's clocking. Here comes respect. His crew's your crew, or they might be next. Look at they man, big man, they never try, so we roll with them, stole with them. I mean loyalty. Put me milks at lunch, the milks with chocolate, the cookies, butter crunch, 88, Oshkosh and blue and white duck. Ask the slime.
Coming this Christmas. Once again, WADL TV 38 and Romeo and Juliet are giving our viewers a chance to have the biggest Christmas ever. WADL TV 38 wants to make your Christmas merry by putting these fantastic gifts under your tree. A full living room set from Romeo and Juliet. Celebrate Christmas with a totally new living room. Big screen TV. Celebrate Christmas with not one, but 2 big screen TVs. State-of-the-art turntable, Bluetooth speaker. Capture your holiday memories with a digital camcorder. Restaurant gift cards, 6-week weight loss program, or 1 month of massage therapy from K Chiropractic. 'Tis the season to be jolly with WADL TV 38's biggest Christmas ever. To enter to win, log on to WADLDetroit.com. Once again, WADL TV 38 and Romeo and Juliet are giving our viewers a chance to have the biggest Christmas ever. WADL TV 38 wants to make your Christmas merry.
Ho, ho, ho. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays.
There's always something new to talk about, and 910 AM Superstation wants to have you covered from every angle. So we're adding some familiar voices and strong opinions to the best talk radio station in town.
Hi, I'm Rochelle Riley, and I'm so glad to be joining the family at 910 AM Superstation. We're going to be talking about it all Monday through Friday, 6 to 7 p.m. Don't miss it.
910 AM Superstation, the voice of Detroit. 910 AM Superstation, the leader in facts.
Same time, you have an administration saying, and you have the media in general, other than you, saying that, Detroit's on a great comeback. Detroit is on a partial comeback, but there's a large segment of the population that's been left behind that the city has been and continue to be built on. And, as long as you're leaving people behind, like in the military, they say you shouldn't leave nobody behind. But we have been left behind. We have been forgotten, pushed over, kicked, and robbed. And we're being robbed every month. It's not over. The bankruptcy isn't over. It's still every day to us.
Voices.
But then you got the Democrats stepping in the way. Donna Brazile comes out and says Hillary took over the part of them give the money she had. She ran her operation in the DNC. So is the Democrats going to ever get it together?
910 AM Superstation. We are the future of radio. 910 AM Superstation is the voice of the people. Don't believe me? Just listen.
910 AM has something that no other station has. A platform for everyone to have a voice. Black, white, young, old. It's a place for people to be themselves.
I love 910 AM. So many articulate and thoughtful, diverse voices and wonderful stories.
So when you think of 910 AM Superstation, we want you to tune in, call in, and don't forget to find us on social media. 910 AM Superstation.